I'm Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching the best sports coverage on News OK.
Bob, I ask you about every 2 years, and the answer is always the same, but I'm going to ask you again. Fullback any closer to getting a carry once every 2 or 3 games, or is that still something you're just not interested in doing?
Yeah, you have to convince Coach Wilson and those guys to give it to him. And again, it's as soon as we do or give it to them too much, everyone's going to wonder why DeMarco isn't carrying it or Chris. But in the end, if you guys want to see the fullback get the ball, I'll talk to Coach Wilson, see if we can't get that worked out.
Well, is it a personnel thing? I mean, I remember Seth Luttrell caught a lot of passes. If you had a guy like that with those skills, would all of a sudden that be part of the offense or more part of the offense?
Well, we threw one with Matt with that club on his hand in one game and bounced off, and I wasn't real pleased about that. So Matt's caught his share of balls, around here too. So pretty soon. I'm not sure when.
What's Brian Simmons' situation?
He's getting better. I'm hopeful. I think he's within a week or two of hopefully being ready to play. So we'll see.
Is Caleb a possibility?
Yeah, he's Brandon. Caleb's still very possible this week. We just kind of like DeMarco was the last 2 weeks. We just kind of have to see as he's practicing how comfortable he feels.
You've had the 3 losses, but coming off of that, are you about as pleased as you could be moving forward through the rest of your season?
So far, it's been very positive. It's just what the guys' attitude, the way they've worked, going on the road to Kansas and then here back at home. Just they have been very good with everything they're doing. They're pushing to get better. We've made some improvement. So there's still a lot more to go though. We're not at all where we can be, and some guys just need to keep working for more development.
What's you changed your punt formation this year, the 3 up backs instead of just the 1. A lot of teams doing that. What's the rationale?
You're a little more. You're not quite as passive up front. It allows your front guys to get out in coverage a little bit quicker and faster, as how I see it. And so I think it just gives you more guys to get downfield sooner with by the way you block up front.
Your punt coverage has been mostly fantastic this year. Is that part of it? And
our kickoff coverage was too until that little guy got. Boy, is he fast! I knew as soon as he hit the seam, I said that's over. So Brandon Banks, but we the first 4. We got the first 3 I think inside the 20 and. But our punt coverage has been good. I think, not to jump around, but Tress is hanging the ball really well. I think that, I would prefer a 45-yard punt that hangs a good 4.5 seconds than a 55 one that hangs 3.5, 4 seconds. So to me, he's doing a nice job of hanging the ball and hitting it with good, with a lot of distance to it. And our guys are getting down there, in a good way.
So that one the other night was blocked, partially blocked?
Partially, yeah. We just had our 3 backs back there. We just got separated where we shouldn't have.
That's 2 this year, and that's almost about 5, isn't it? Punts being blocked. 2 have been partially blocked, and the guys have been really, really close on a couple others. Does that scare you about talking about punt formation?
No, I don't think anyone else has been that close. Everybody gets close when they run by the punter, But in those 2 instances, our up backs there got separated where they shouldn't, and there's been a whole bunch of other punts too that So I don't know. I feel like we're doing. The guys are doing a good job with it.
Even when that punt got blocked, it went 42 yards. Tress's leg must be.
He's got a strong, powerful leg. There's no question. He hits them at practice a bunch of times, 55, 60, and so I keep hoping he'll get more and more comfortable with games and start doing some in games too.
Bob, when you look at the rankings, you're the only team I think with the 3 losses as high as you are. But at the same time, there's an argument on the other side that they've been closed and the schedule's been fairly tough. How do you look at where you are in the rankings?
You're not pleased to be where you are. You're not pleased to have 3 losses. So in the end, I can't do anything about that. All I pay attention to and spend all my energy trying to do is get ready to play Nebraska and play each week. So in the end, that's just how things go. In our game, scheduling matters to some people, it doesn't to others, and that's just how it goes.
Bob, what Corey Brandon went through at the beginning of the year, was that a big deal for him that you got a sense of, or was it just a negative that he kind of had to just work through?
Say that again?
What Corey Brandon went through at the beginning of the year, do you feel like that was a big deal for him, or was it just something big?
What specifically are you talking about? Well, that's his fault if he had penalty. I mean, you're acting like something he went through something like there's a reason for it. There's no reason to have that many penalties. It just gets down to having some discipline and to play with some discipline and play by the rules.
Well, how far did the line come against Kansas State? I mean, you guys had 50. Well, some of it was an unsportsmanlike, but you had 50 yards in penalties on that drive where you were first and 45. And it's a tribute to the offense that it overcame it, and yet, you still had all these penalties. So how far did they come, or was it just the overcoming that was good?
The overcoming was good. The rest of it stinks. I mean, you can't put yourself in those situations. There's no other way to say it. It's just lousy play to have the ball in the red zone, or what are you, 5 yards or 5 or 10 yards from the red zone, and end up on the other side of the field. It's just terrible. So we still got a long way to go that way. We still can play smarter, and hopefully we will.
Bob, the offensive line, the disappointment of their performance throughout this year, what do you point that as? I mean, what's the culprit there? Is it recruiting mistakes? Is it guys you didn't get? Is it lack of development? Is it guys who left? I mean, what?
There's a little bit of everything in it. We got caught thin with a big graduating class. Not often do you have 5 guys that leave all at once. I think it's fair to say, sure, whether we've had guys leave or we've had to remove guys because whether they don't go to class, they don't do what the team requires them to do, and then development. A lot of it's on these guys. If certain guys have a better work ethic than others to get themselves prepared to play, and just overall this unit, it's got caught thin, it's got caught inexperienced, and development isn't where it needs to be, and you could go on and on. So it's a little bit of everything.
Is it a reminder that there's just no replacement for experience? Because Kevin was really outwardly confident coming into the season when he talked about his line. They weren't
a lot more so than I was, but you never heard me that way. So anyway, there is no replacement for experience. I mean, experience is a major factor at every level of this game. So.